You said this place was steps from the water.
We just haven't found the steps yet.
How much did we save?
Enough.
Enough to get lost?
Or you could book a stay with Hilton.
Welcome to your oceanfront room, just steps from the water.
The Hilton sale is on now. Book on Hilton.com or the Hilton app and save up to 20% to get the stay you expected. When you want savings, not surprises, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer to learn more. See you this summer.
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to another special edition of the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast. Rob is down the line in an increasingly sweaty South London. Again, why are we back, Rob?
Well, you're hiding from the streets of South Norwood on this evening that Crystal Palace are in a European final. You're sheltering in your home, but also we are here, more importantly, to have a very special guest. Myles Edwards from the second row from Colomiers, who has had, as it turns out, quite the career in France. 10 years in France, really, all told, and previewing what is a huge game on Friday night in the Pro D2 semi-finals, and talking about Colomiers' awesome season and how great they are as a club. I feel like I am now rooting for Colomiers in these Pro D2 knockouts, but you can make your own mind up by listening to our interview with Myles. Enjoy. Okay, we are delighted to be joined on the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast this week by a man tearing it up in Pro D2, our favourite league, at Colomiers, but he's also had experience of Pro D2 with Mont-de-Marsan, Oyonnax, Vannes, Aurillac. I think that's everything. But a great big welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby Podcast to Myles Edwards. Myles, how you doing?
Cheers, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I was trying to get the full list of the Pro D2 clubs. You've had your time kind of dotting around France. Really, you've kind of done the length and breadth of it almost.
Yeah, literally, I've done pretty much every corner of France for the time being. I'm hoping to stay a little bit more settled now, but yeah, definitely have done a bit of traveling in my time around France.
I always try and wear something that's like slightly related to our guest. And I've realised I've never actually even seen Colomiers play, I don't think, Rich. One of the few teams we've not been to Colomiers, no. B, I've never even seen them play. At least a few of them, the trickier ones to get to, one of us has managed to see them away, but yeah, never somehow, which is mad because it's obviously like of all the Pro D2 grounds, you think that'd be the easiest one to get game time at. But I have got a La Rochelle t-shirt.
La Rochelle shirt, where it all started.
Yeah, where it all started. But let's start with Colomiers. I mean, what a season you guys having. You guys have just had a week off thanks to your brilliant final season, I guess, but the final round away win at Colomiers to kind of secure that second place. What did you get up to on your week off? What happens on a week off when you get your bye week for the playoffs?
So we actually went on camp, which was pretty tough, to be fair. We went up to the mountains and we did a 3-day camp up there. That was pretty intense. I think just trying to get keeping the legs moving, but it was really good. I think it was definitely what we needed. We couldn't have just sat around and done nothing, because I think we'd have got a bit too relaxed. So they made sure to keep the pressure on. And yeah, no, it's been really good. And I think because we've got such a young team, all the boys are really competing for their spots. And like, so the week was really competitive, and like, yeah, it was really good. I think we've had a great week off. I think the boys are feeling fresh, even though we had such an intense week. But yeah, now we're feeling good and ready to go.
So you're playing there. You're not doing. It's not like pre-season treks and team building stuff. You're actually doing training, but just kind of a different location, just to mix it up.
Yeah, it was different location and a bit of a different day, because obviously when you're staying there and eating there, you can kind of spread the day out a little bit better. So we were kind of just doing what we would normally do, where we finish at about 3, we split it throughout the day, and then it just gave the boys gave the time for the boys to rest in the afternoon, and we're back on the field, and we got like a little bit more contacting, a little bit more of the niggly stuff that I feel like you don't really get to do during such a short week. But with the week off, it gave the body a good time to rest, and everyone's back on form now. You
didn't manage to catch any of the rugby over the weekend, because there was absolutely loads.
I got to watch a little bit of it, but like I was kind of, because I'd been away with the boys, I was kind of like a little bit like, I'm taking a step back from rugby for a little bit, just because it was quite a bit, and I was tired when I came back as well, so had a bit of a rest and stuff like that. And I didn't really watch as much as I would normally watch, but yeah, kind of getting towards that end of the season time now, where like rugby's like, oh, it's a lot now, so. Yeah,
I was gonna ask, because obviously there was loads of obviously Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, obviously the competition you guys are playing in, but one of your old teams, a huge win at the weekend, Worcester winning the championship.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I'm really happy for them that they've come back and they've had such a good season this year. They've had a really good time. I think no one really, well, you would expect it because obviously where they've been before, but like I don't know if anyone expected them to do this well this year, especially with teams like Ealing and stuff. Like they just go and smash every game by the sounds of things. I don't really get to watch much champ rugby, but I do keep my eye on the score, especially Worcester. That's where it all started for me, really.
Well, let's kind of go into the season. You kind of touched on quite a young squad that you mentioned there with the Colomiers.
Really young squad, yeah.
You guys have had a fantastic season, or kind of actually, if you stretch it back, kind of a fantastic 18 months. The kind of back end of last season before you joined they were absolutely flying, and kind of, I think, Rich, I don't know if you can remember the questions from our Christmas quiz, but I think Colomiers scored more points in Pro D2 in 2025
in the calendar year.
Than anyone else.
Yeah.
But so kind of talk us through what you think the club is doing right, I guess. Like what were your initial impressions, I guess? Let's go from that. Kind of Mont-de-Marsan, you moved over the summer, and kind of Mont-de-Marsan at the moment scrapping down the lower end of the league, and kind of moving to a team that's doing things really, really well, and not a huge budget either. So like, what was your kind of first impressions when you first moved to Colomiers? Kind of this is really great.
I think when I first got here, I was kind of a bit shocked on how young all the boys were, and I was thinking, not much experience and stuff like that. And then as time went on, I realized that we have such a young team, but we have the coach matches that young team. He's like quite young himself. He's not like an old head that's like kind of really old school with everything. And he kind of knew how to get the boys in the right places. And he was very honest with everyone. He was like, I'll be honest with you from the get-go. This is what I want, and like if you're not following this dream that I want, like I don't think you're gonna play much here. And I think all the boys were just like, okay, then cool. I like the confidence. Let's go for it. And I think we worked really hard in pre-season, getting fit and like getting to know each other. We did a lot of stuff together, and I think just the team bond initially, like the first camp we went on, they allowed us to just be us instead of it being like a thing where you go on like an army camp and you're kind of like in this routine of doing all this like army stuff, everyone hating the world and stuff like that. We just literally were there with a group, as a group of friends, just playing a bit of rugby on camp. And I think that, and for the first week, was a great way for us to kind of just gel as a team, which then carried on through the first half of the season. I think there's not a single bit of bad blood in the changing room. No one's really like someone can start over someone. No one's really like got that ego in the changing room, and I think that's really good for us. I don't think anyone's kind of put a downer on the season, like, even if they haven't played much. Like even the injured boys, they're like so supportive of the boys that are playing. Like I've been at teams where it's kind of been the boys that are injured, like don't really care, to be honest, if they're not playing, kind of thing. But like here, it's really, I think we've got a real solid group, and I think the injured boys being in at the same time as us, everyone's just like in the same environment, and we're all in the same boat. So I think it's probably that's made us so like good on the field. I don't think we're the biggest team. We're not the strongest team either. We're not the most experienced team, but I think our bond kind of fixes all the problems that we don't have. And yeah, it's been a really, really shocking kind of experience, because I came in thinking, oh, it's gonna be a tough year with these young boys. But honestly, it's kind of made me up my game and made sure that I've got to be on my toes a little bit more. It takes that little bit of a edge off everything, like just knowing now that I can trust all of them, and like I think everyone's got that trust within each other, and I think that's really helped us to get as far as we have. So
oh, go on, Rich.
I'm just going to ask one of, and some might be jumping ahead of you here, Rob, but you spoke about that kind of like togetherness of the squad. One of the things we've spoken to so many English guys in particular about is their shock at the attitude to away fixtures, and sometimes the different teams being sent. Colomiers' away record this year has been absolutely remarkable. I think it's the joint most away wins in the league. Didn't seem to matter what team being sent, just churning out results. What's been the sort of driver behind that? Because it feels like the sort of thing, regardless of anyone or everyone's great intentions in other sides, they just that kind of cliche persists, and you guys have completely blown that apart this year.
Yeah, I think it's just that togetherness that I was talking about. It's like we can get on a bus, and sometimes I feel more confident in us away, and I don't know what it is. There's just a feeling on the bus, like I know the boys like to turn up away, and really, like, honestly, like I've played games, and I've like the game against Aix-en-Provence when we went to Aix and beat them there. I just had the feeling that this was going to be a good game. I didn't know if we were going to win, but I just knew we had that confidence. And like I think, obviously, the coach doesn't really. He won't say, okay, then we're going to Aix-en-Provence, they're third. We're going to send like a completely different team. They'll switch up a few boys, but the boys have played already this season, so they've still got confidence. And I think what I've noticed in other teams, obviously being young and being an espoir, I got sent to a lot of them away trips. Like when you're in Aurillac, and one of my first games, I got sent to Perpignan. And I was like, oh, like it was a group of espoir boys that I was playing with every week. But we were playing against men now, and it was kind of like we had a bond, but we didn't have a bond on that level. And I think because all the boys have played at home, they've played away, it kind of doesn't matter where you kind of put us, we're still going to try and do our best. And I think the coach just fires it into us like, it doesn't matter that we're going away, we can still, we're not here to just like play the game and just get a result. Like we're here to win. And I think that winning mentality that we've had definitely is driven from him. Like there's no doubt about that. And I think all his staff support him very well with that as well. They never. I've even been at teams where when you're doing like, you're preparing for the week and you're sending a bit of a bomb squad, that I feel like the coaches don't really, like the lineouts are not as like clinical. They're not, and everything's not the same. But here I feel like every week where we are going, like everything is down to a T, perfect. And I think that's one of the major things that I've noticed here, that they really are trying to, regardless home away, trying to get the win. And I really enjoy that, because obviously coming from like being English, and like it doesn't really matter in England whether you're going home away, like abroad anyway, like you still want to try and go and win. Coming over here and seeing that, it was kind of a bit of a big shock, but coming to Colomiers kind of brought me back to like that English style of rugby, where going here to win, boys, regardless if it's away or they're first in the league, and doesn't matter about the result, we'll still go again.
Yeah, I think from speaking to other guys, it's quite often the English lads and the maybe some of the other non-GIFs that get sent out on the away games, because the French guys are still kind of slightly wedded to that, being that extra 10% at home and not really bothering away. I kind of wanted to it's interesting you kind of talk about almost an English mentality. There's a little bit of a characterization, and please tell me if this is utter bollocks. But there's a little bit of a characterization that Colomiers are kind of sculpting themselves in the image of the kind of big brother, as it were, down the road, and kind of a little bit of a mini Toulouse type thing. How do you guys, is that true? Do you kind of feel like a difference? Is it that kind of ball in play, and is the coaching the kind of not quite jouet and lob a ball in and it's all jouet, but the kind of live rugby and intensity and looking for space and stuff like that? Do you guys, is there anything spoken about it in the squad, or is it just, do you sense that there's an element of like Toulouse-esque style?
I do sense it definitely, that we do kind of like a lot of our videos, you know, like we'll be watching videos, and like if they're bringing in a new lineup, a lot of the time it will be obviously showing us a few videos from Toulouse and like stuff like that. Like the top 14 videos that we do watch are Toulouse. So I do think they're kind of trying to keep that style. But I think I think Toulouse are quite the same. They've got quite a young squad, so like the boys are pretty fresh. And I think if you look at our squad and you look at Toulouse's squad, I don't mean like the abilities, but I'm talking about the ages. We're probably about around the same. Toulouse are probably a little bit more older with the experience that they have. But I think, yeah, I do see it's not spoken about much, but obviously we have a lot of Valentin Dalpi. He's obviously from Toulouse. He's one of our big game drivers. So I think because he's probably grown up using that system, I think they probably just said, if we want him to thrive, that's what's going to be best for him. And it's worked for all of us. And I think we've kind of not built a team around him because he's not our only 10, but I think they've kind of built a team that suits that style of play. And then obviously he slots in there very well.
And how does that differ as a forward to kind of anywhere else you've been in the past? I guess kind of certainly at the moment, I don't know. I know it's been relatively similar and consistent throughout their time in Pro D2, but somewhere like Van or I guess Oyonnax have kind of always traditionally been a bit more kind of forward based as a game plan. Does it change kind of your role, your fitness, your training, your S&C, your diet? Like, is it different, or is it just kind of, no, I have my specific roles, and as long as I train them, I'm good to go?
When I was with Van, Oyonnax, those type of teams, it was very much forward focused. Like they liked a big pack, heavy pack and stuff like that. And here it's kind of like, if you look at all our forwards, we're pretty, like, I'm probably one of the heaviest, probably the second heaviest forward. And that's very unusual to me because I'm used to like having heavy props. And I think what I've realized here, we like work a lot more on speed, that double effort, that like it's not where at Van it was like you could make one carry and then you could like be all right for a little bit and then make another carry. As long as they were like consistently like big carries, you were fine. But here it's kind of like you've always got a job to be doing. The game's so much quicker. We try to get quick line outs. We're trying to like, they're just playing at a bigger speed, which I think for me, obviously coming from Mont-Marsan, where Mont-Marsan we played quick, but it was kind of through the synthetic that we played quick, not because of the style that we were playing. But I think it not really changed much for me, really. But like I can see with the boys around me, they're kind of not the same size, or they're not like as physical, maybe, because it's constantly just trying to get quick ball, get it out the back. And obviously the forwards can still play. We've got incredible forwards that can like still play really good rugby, but like obviously our game is very much focused on getting the ball out to the backs and doing what's got to be done there.
I think what's really curious about, the kind of slightly less bulky squad that you've got, the younger squad, is that, you can characterize it as this kind of jouet and quick pace type stuff, but you guys have also got the best defense in the league in terms of points conceded. How does that come about when you guys come up against the slightly bigger or more physical styles, and kind of what's worked in that respect for you guys? I guess it comes back to that togetherness, really. Like, do you think it's just the culture and everyone fighting together and the cohesion if you guys are used to playing each other? Is that kind of what drives it? Is there specific focus in the week, or is it just happened?
It's like crazy to say, but we hardly work on our defense. Our defense is purely based off our togetherness on the field. And
Wow.
like even the coach was saying that it's the first time that like I've never really had to focus on defense here. You got your odd boys that like we talk about spacing here and there, like in videos, but we barely talk about defense. We barely do much defense in training. Our defense is just built off pure like brotherly love kind of thing. It's kind of like I want to make a tackle for him. He's gonna make a tackle for me, and I think we all know that now. Like, there's not many boys that are not gonna like make the tackle or sacrifice themselves to make that tackle for the other guy. We're such a close-knitted group that we've kind of worked that hard together that we kind of like, nah, we're not gonna give up on defense. And it did shock me at the start. I was like, whoa, okay, like this is unusual for me because I've been at a lot of teams where we've really struggled with defense, had like big defense coaches in and stuff like that. No, I think it's just pure brotherly love out here. Us doing what we kind of do best. That's one of our major strong points.
That's absolutely mad. I mean, there's people kind of still discovering Predator in the UK, and
yeah,
you know, if that's a reason to support Colomiers in these playoffs. Also, I enjoyed the little drive-by on England defence coach Joel Ab there. I'll take that as a little subtext. As a kind of, I'm joking, but that kind of does, without wanting to kind of throw knives at anyone, that takes us back to kind of some of the other clubs you've been at. You've been, I kind of mentioned it at the top, what a journey you've had in France, really. Yeah. And kind of, I mean, you moved across at like 18, I think.
Yeah, 18.
To kind of to La Rochelle, and then have done a fair few Pro de Deux clubs as a GIF, as an Espoir, and developing and then becoming a bit of a Pro de Deux stalwart.
Yeah.
Talk us through like your journey, that any particular highlights, any lows. How did it come about? How have you kind of gone from Worcester Academy as an 18-year-old to getting snapped up by La Rochelle? How does that happen?
I think I didn't start rugby late, but like obviously coming from Birmingham, Birmingham's not a big rugby town. Like I grew up in the area. I never knew what rugby was until maybe like 11 maybe, so I've never heard of it, never watched it, never really been involved. And then I was at school, played a lot of rugby for school, but didn't really take it seriously at all. Got to Worcester, really enjoyed it there, started to slowly get more into it. And then there was a guy called Mark Hewitt at Worcester, and he really looked after me. He was a really good guy that kind of like guided me and kind of kept me in line and kept me focused. And he was like, I'm being honest with you, like this style of rugby doesn't suit you. Like we all lose your potential if you try and stay here and play rugby. And I was like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to France. I'm not doing all of this. I thought I was going to be all right at home. And he introduced me to an agent that said, yeah, I can get you over to France if you're really wanting to do it. I was like, okay, let's give it a go. Got the contract through, and I said, okay, I'm going to sign it. Didn't sign it to the very last day because I was like saying to everyone, I'm not going. I said to my mum, I'm not going. And it was my godfather that said to me, just give it a go, just give it a chance. And I signed it with him, sent it off. And then I think 2 days later, then I flew out to France. And yeah, it was such a crazy experience landing in France. Never really left the country by myself. Arriving in France, my agents at the airport, and the guy that I was speaking to on the phone, it wasn't him that was picking me up. So then when I got there, I was kind of like a little bit panicked. He didn't speak much English. Got to La Rochelle, it was really dark, and I was like, Mom, call my mum. I said, I hate this place. I want to go home. It's horrible. Can just see like dark walls everywhere. And it wasn't till the next day, and he was like, oh, well, I'll take you around the town before we go to sign the official contract. And I seen the beach, and I seen the port, and I seen like just the way La Rochelle was, and I just fell in love with it, and I really enjoyed it there. And yeah, it was such a great experience. I think it was a bit of a shock to the system, obviously going from Worcester, living with a host family, and then moving over to La Rochelle, having a salary, having my own place, just having like the freedom to do a lot of things. So I think the guys that we were living with, we kind of seen it as a bit like uni rugby. Not at the time, you don't really see what a big opportunity you have. Kind of took it a bit for granted my first year. Like I was just kind of not really that interested. I was just living like a uni student until I went to my second year, and I was like, okay, let's just give this a little bit more of a go, because the coaches were saying, "Oh, like carry on, you'll start training with the pros and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's give it a go." And then injury hit, and yeah, that was a sad time because I was out for 9 months. I tore my pick, playing away, and I thought, oh, it's done. So I just went back into that old routine of just like messing around and just not going out a bit too much and stuff. Then ended up with no contract, no nothing. And Aurillac called and said that they were looking for a lock. So I ended up going to Aurillac. Crazy story. Ended up getting run over on my last day of going to training with La Rochelle. Ended up going to Aurillac. Had my knee was in bits, my shoulder was in bits, had a hair missing, had like it was such a tough time. And the coach said to me, I need a lock now. Like what am I gonna do with you? And I was like, I don't know, just like give me a chance. And he was like, if you don't perform, I'm telling you now, like we won't keep you because you've come here and you're injured and you've like taken up a spot. So then obviously I think I was 21 at the time. That after having such a good experience, like a opportunity with La Rochelle, I didn't want to lose this one as well. So then just really focused, locked in. I had a really good group in Aurillac, a foreign young boy that was the same age as me, and we kind of all locked in together and kind of just took off from there. Started playing the odd few games with the pro, and really enjoyed it. And it's strange because one of the guys here, Max Grunwy, he's a lock that played here. He was at Aurillac at the time and he played 5. And I remember he really pushed me to the coach to make me play because the coach was like, sometimes like, oh, I'm not gonna. I used to get like the odd 2 minutes off the bench. And I remember one of the games, he didn't really hurt himself. He just wanted me to come on. And I always say it's like so grateful to him that he pushed me that hard to kind of get me into the squad and give me an opportunity. And it's strange now that I feel like he's finishing his career next season and it's kind of just like all falling into place real nice. And I'm next to him in the locker room and all that type of stuff. So it's really been a good experience, real good time I had in Aurillac. And then obviously went to Oyonnax after that. Really good 2 years, had some really good friends down there. Played well. Then Joe came my second year. Really enjoyed having Joe as a coach. And then just got an opportunity to come home and I couldn't turn it. I always wanted to try and come back and play in the Premiership. And obviously Wasp was down the road from my house. It was like 20 minutes down the road from the house. And I was like, I have to take this opportunity. I spoke to Joe and Joe was like, completely understand, like go chase it. Got there and then the whole COVID situation kind of ruined that because it was kind of like they were cutting contracts and all that type of stuff. So it was sad, but at the same time, it opened up another opportunity to go and have an opportunity in Japan, which I really enjoyed, which was difficult being there by myself, really difficult. I think Japan's a great place, but it was so hard to kind of just be there by myself and not really have many people to interact with, obviously because there was COVID and we were still training every day, but like couldn't. Christmas Day I was sat at home by myself, like having a KFC. I know that's the thing over there, but it was kind of like I wasn't used to that, and it was kind of really tough for me to kind of adapt to that. But after a while, I got used to it. But then I just said to my agent, I couldn't go back. I didn't. It was just too tough, and I think it was just taking its toll on me actually enjoying rugby. And it wasn't the rugby that I wasn't enjoying; it was just that the fact that I was by myself and I couldn't really kind of like interact with anyone. So then after that, went to Van, got that opportunity, and it really opened up for me there. That's where I kind of really found my feet in Pro D2, and I really enjoyed playing for Van. That was one of my greatest experiences, and I think. As much as me and John Noir had like a weird relationship, it was nice for me to kind of like just see him as for the coach he is now, and like see when I had him, he was kind of like he's exactly the same. He's never going to change, but he's a great coach, just like a strange guy to work for. But if you're doing your job, he's really happy with you, and it was real good experience and I really enjoyed it. I've made some real good friends and some good people that I call family for the rest of my life. Honestly, they're still to this day really close with them. And then one master.
He must be doing something right, John Noel, because how long has he been at Van or head coach at Van? It's like 11 years now or something, isn't it?
I think it's longer than that. I think it's longer than that because I think he was with them in National, so he's taken them from National back in the day, and then he's taken them to Pro D2 and to top 14. It's like honestly, it's a real big achievement of his. Like, I think he's got a great team around him. Obviously, that helps. But as a coach, he's really, really good coach. He's raw. Reminds me a bit of like an English coach, right? Very straight to the point, very like keeps it serious, very militant. But like he's really, really good coach. Yeah. Really good coach. Yeah.
What a kind of like 10 years or so that is, and all starting with getting run over in La Rochelle or near the start. That is absolutely insane. Was that, I won't pry too much, but was that on one of the uni style nights, or was that just an unfortunate
that
one?
was literally, I had my last day of training on the way to, last day of training, it was at football. It was about 11 o'clock in the afternoon that we had to be at the club. And I lived in town at the time and I had a bike and I had like a car as well. But I said to myself, oh, I'll just take the bike today. Last day, sun's out, I'm just gonna ride into work. So I'm on my way into work on my way. And I've looked left, and I've got headphones in, by the way, and I've looked left, clear. So I've rolled out into the road, I've looked left again, and I've just seen a number plate here. And it was like a delivery van that was just, it was just not a
crazy
great experience at all. And it was tough time. It was a dark time because I had like a really bad burn behind my knee, and they said I needed a skin graft. But then after that, they were like, "Oh, you won't be able to play for about 6 months with the skin graft and stuff." So I just had to leave it, and like it was a horrible time. But grateful that I'm still here. Obviously, I'm heavily Christian, so like I always praise God and grateful to God for giving me another opportunity to play.
Oh, incredible. And how do you see, like, you've obviously benefited from being GIF. How do you think Pro D2 has changed much in your time in France? Like, what have you noticed as the kind of key changes? Obviously, the GIF rule I think must have come in around when you first moved to France, but is the kind of league still as cosmopolitan and professional as it always has, or has it become more professional? Or obviously there's some top players in Pro D2 now that might not have been there before. How's it kind of changed in your time, do you think?
Oh, it's really changed. I think when I was actually speaking to one of the boys about this, like maybe a week ago, and I was saying the level of Pro D2 that now to compare to when I was at Aurillac, there's no comparison. Like, I'm not saying it was terrible or whatever, but like it was nowhere near the level of what it is like now. It's incredible. You've got like really good players, you've got really good experienced players, and it's honestly, it shocks me to think, well, like sometimes when I used to look back at some of the highlights and you think, wow, like the game's changed so much, even just like the budgets of some of the teams and like how the facilities they have, like you'd have never seen that in Pro D2 a couple of years ago. I would even say 3 or 4 years ago, you would have never seen teams having like budgets and facilities the way that they've got what they have now. So yeah, I definitely think it's taken a major turn, and I think the GIF system is really good because obviously it kind of not forces you, but it keeps you over here. Because I wanted to leave before I got my GIF, and my agent was like, "You will regret it for the rest of your life. Just make sure you see that through." So it's kind of like, I think it's a really good system that they have in place, obviously, to keep you here, and it kind of gives you the ability to play, and it gives you like a bit of freedom, and it also does help. Obviously, teams are always looking for GIF players because it helps, but then I think people think it's this like you're gonna certify to get a contract, but I've seen some great players that are GIF, and you still struggle to get a deal if the timing's not right. You can definitely still struggle to pick up a contract.
bringing it back then to kind of this week and Pro de Deux and teams being kind of more professional, more budgets and perhaps higher aspirations. You've got a huge game or in the playoffs. I think will it be your first playoff game? Your first, I think you've been at clubs that have been in the playoffs, but
not my first playoff game yet.
So at home to Provence, and then the prospect of a game against one of your former clubs in the final if you guys get through that. How do you kind of see the Provence game going? Like it's kind of, I think you've played against all three of the other teams in this season. Yeah. But I think you guys beat Provence away but lost at home, is that right?
Lost at home.
So how do you see this one going? Because I think their pack is massive, right? And they've got huge ball carriers in that pack and that back line.
Yeah.
How do you kind of see them? Are there any specific matchups that you're looking for, or anything that kind of without giving everything away? I mean, I don't know how many Provence players are going to be listening to this before Friday evening, but how do you see that game going?
We are confident. Obviously, we're very aware of what the team's going to bring. We all watched them play against Brive, and that's to beat Brive in itself with the pack that they have is really good, because obviously Brive's pack is one of the best in the league. When you look at it on paper, like it should pretty much walk over most packs. But I think where we are really strong is, I think obviously we're young, we're fit, like we're gonna get a little bit less tired. Like when you've got a big team, it's good, but when it's 30 degrees outside and you've got these young boys running around, I'm telling you, I've been doing it in training all week. Chasing them is not easy. It's definitely not. And I think because a lot of the boys are from Colomiers and they've never had like big games and big finals, I think they're just thriving off the season that we've had and the fact of where we've got to. And I'm not saying that we're confident that we're going to win, because we've had like some games at home that we definitely should have won. Van, for example, X, for example. But I think we've prepared well, so we can't do much more than what we've done. We can't prepare any better. We can't. There's nothing that I would have liked to say, oh yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit more of that. We've honestly like done everything that we can to kind of get to this game fully confident. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that it should be a great matchup. I think they've got a really good forward pack. They've got a really good bench that comes on that as well. Like regardless of however they put it, regardless, it's great the way that they work their team. But I think we're thriving off confidence. We're thriving. We've had a rest this week. We're just full of energy. We're ready to go. And I think you can feel it in the club. You can feel it in the clubhouse. You can feel it in changing rooms. You can just feel that we're it's one of the first times that I think we're aware that we have to perform. We're not just thinking, oh, it's a home game. Actually, majority of times we're gonna win. Like I've seen boys train the best. The boys that are not, they know they're not playing, but they've trained the best for us to just make sure that we're all prepared. And I think once again, it's just going to be that team bond that's going to kind of make us or break us on Friday. That's going to give us that extra bit of oomph, because I think there's a lot of teams in Pro D2 now as well that have these budgets, but how much does your team come together and how much can you put all your pieces together, and does the puzzle fit and does it really work? So yeah, I think there's a lot of teams out there that are working off a budget, but are you working with making sure you've got all the right pieces?
Love it. Oh, well, we're gonna flip that around though. I know that you kind of mentioned the team togetherness. We want you to call out. You've mentioned the fact there are loads of young lads. We want to call out one or two guys that we should look out for. It doesn't have to be a young guy, but like any unsung heroes or any kind of young superstars that you've kind of come to Colomiers this season and thought, wow, this guy's going to be amazing, or this guy's an absolute hero. I'm so glad I'm playing alongside him.
Probably one of my favorite guys in the team. Like he's literally like my brother in the team. Thomas Adelaide,
what player. He's off to La Rochelle next year.
He's off to La Rochelle. Yeah, he's off to La Rochelle. Honestly, incredible player. Incredible. And I think he's he thrives off confidence. He thrives off like having like the games and getting it done. And I think obviously being here, it's been really good for him because it's kind of been like we've had a shared load. There's not many number fives, and we've kind of like shared the load. Obviously, you've got Fede as well, Lavellini, that is a great player as well. But Thomas Adelaide is really one of those players that I think, coached by the right coach, he will get very far. He's really, really got a lot of potential, and I think he's already shown it in the games that he's played. Like he's honestly I think, one of the best locks in the league. Regardless if you put him 4 or 5, he can carry tackles, jumps well in the line out. His decision making's getting a lot better. So yeah, and I think he's really going to thrive in a team like La Rochelle, and I think he's one of the major players to look out for. And also, I have to say, Jules Danglo, he's honestly one of the most talented number 9s that I've played with personally. Like he's a great player. Obviously, they both come from Toulon in the last season, and they have a great partnership as well. They know each other really well. But Jules is he's one of the young guys that I was like at the start of the season, "Whoa." But he's rapid, full of energy. Like I remember in a preseason game, broke the line, got tackled. There was another ruck, and I've never seen this before. He got the ball from the ruck, stepped back, and took a drop goal from a ruck, and I was like, sorry, and he got it over like it was just nothing, and I was just like, you're playing video games here. That's not real life. And from there, I just knew he was one of those guys that he's really talented. He's got good vision. He's got good speed. He puts his body on the line. Like he just reads the game really well. So I think they're 2 major talents that are gonna really shine bright over the next couple of years.
Myles, we have to ask you. We were talking very briefly off air at the top of this. The other semi-final, the first semi-final, Van, Oyonnax, 2 sides you've played for. How do you? Well, Van obviously way clear at the top, but how do you see that one panning out?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as they maybe think it will be. I think obviously Oyonnax, team full of experience. They got size, and they're like massive. I just feel like they're a team that's kind of like just stayed at the back for a little bit, and just like they're peaking at the right time. They're kind of like getting that, they've got their confidence up, obviously beating Valence the way they did, and then going to Van. I think they definitely could do a job. If Van are not careful, I think Van will have to play some of their best rugby to kind of keep Oyonnax down, because Oyonnax is one of them teams where I just think it's full. They're full of, the team's full of dogs, and it's just like they don't want to stop. They're not gonna. They're not there to mess around. They're not going down there to say, "Oh yeah, we've got to the semi-finals. That's good enough for us." I know quite a few of those boys, and I know the captain Phoenix, Debati. He's not gonna let the boys go down there, and you're just going down there for a little game of rugby. If we win, we win. Like they're going down there to do a job, and I suppose it is the semi-finals. You've worked so hard to get there, and kind of you might as well give it all you got. And once they do, I think maybe they're going to be a dark horse, and they'll be pretty dangerous.
You would have played under their scrum's been amazing this season, right? And you played under Vincent Debati.
I played
scrum
with
coach.
him.
Yeah, you played with him.
Yeah, I played with him. Yeah.
How's I mean, is there anything from your time that has kind of made the Oyonnax scrum so good? Or just a load of units?
I think that's what it is. I think obviously it was a very
we'll never know.
John L. Spitzer's got into the I've got him.
Sorry about that. My laptop died.
Oh, no worries. We thought it might have been John Noel Spitzer trying to interfere and stop you talking about how good Oyonnax were. Yeah, well, let's we won't keep you that much longer. I appreciate it's getting late and you've got a massive game on Friday. This might be a kind of a tough question to answer in a few words or in a couple of minutes, but we kind of always ask people their kind of favourite spots for food, for drink, for coffee, for holidays, whatever. I mean, probably or maybe focused on Toulouse and the Colomiers region a bit more, but any kind of places that come to mind as like anyone coming to France to watch the games, they've got to go there for whatever it might be. Anything that kind of comes to mind.
First thing that came to mind is there's a spot down in Anglet near Biarritz. It's in between Biarritz and Bayeux. A place called Hoy. Incredible spot, incredible. It's like a fresh barbecue that they have every lunchtime, and you pay, I think it's €20, and it's like fresh fish, it's fresh chicken, fresh pork, and honestly, the food is unbelievable, and everything's so fresh, and everything's just like, there was even a team, I think it was a national team, and last time I went, they were having their before match meal there, and honestly, it's an incredible place, incredible. Every time I'm down there by Biarritz, I have to take a trip down there. Obviously, it's cold during the winter because you know what them places are like down there. But during the summer, unbelievable spot, and it's quite quiet. Not many people know about it, so yeah, really good little spot down there.
What's it called? Sorry,
Ahoy.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. So I'm just looking this up now.
Rob is salivating at the menu as we speak. Rob, anything else?
No, I think let's wrap it up there. That's been. I feel like we could have spoke for hours. Maybe we'll get you back on when you guys win Pro Day 2.
Yeah,
you got a bit of a home game if you guys do get through anyway. Just
that's a nice little down the road trip.
Yeah. Well, Myles, thanks very much for joining us. Thank you very much for coming on the Rosbif Rugby podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Good luck for Friday. That should be an absolute belter. Cannot wait to watch that game. And hopefully plenty of our listeners will be watching as well and looking out for you and a couple of others. But for the meantime, good luck. Cheers. Enjoy Friday night. Enjoy it. Try not to get run over before then.
Definitely not.
But thank you very much for thank you very much for coming on. Yeah,
cheers.
All the best.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Myles.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot make your email response time faster. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you find space for your 3 desk drinks. Why do you have 3? And while we can't help you find the perfect volume for your presentation video, LinkedIn can help you find the perfect audience for your business. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/small business.
Bonjour, compadre. It's the
Priceline Negotiator.
How do I negotiate so many great travel deals? My greatest gadget, the Priceline app. It's got hotel deals, flight deals, rental car deals, all of those deals in a bundle. Deals, game day deals, concert trip deals. No one deals more deals than Priceline. Hold your horses, there's more. The app lets you filter hotels by neighborhood, vibe, star level, and amenities like pools and spas and beachfronts and... Wait, I'm not done. Stop cutting me off.
Priceline.
Massive thank you to Myles Edwards. Rob, what a gent, and what a career as well. In terms of, I was just thinking in my head, in terms of miles between teams in France, there can be fewer. He's basically kind of maybe a little gig at Nice or something like that, Toulon, just to go the full length and breadth. An incredible career.
Or even just doing Oyonnax to Van is basically the length and breadth of it. And before you even factor in going near enough right down the bottom with Mont-de-Marsan, and ticking off bang in the middle with the Lac and the what do they call the Diagonal de Vide, the nowhere land of France. I mean, I'm sure I'd love to have chatted to him about some of the players he's played with and also some of the recommendations he's got from every little town that he's been to. But we'll have to get him back on another time. What a guy.
Fantastic.
Also very modest, that just turned up, started playing rugby late. Turns out I was quite good at, well, he didn't even say that. It's like, this guy thought I'd be good in France, so he gets snapped up by Patrice Colazo and La Rochelle as they're on the rise. I mean, what a story.
Yeah, I was too scared to say it to his face, but hilarious if you end up leaving La Rochelle because it was a bit looked a little bit ropey at night, and head back to Birmingham, with no disrespect to our listeners in Birmingham, but I enjoyed that a lot. Rob, the FR UK games are on
Thursday evening. They're on FR UK on YouTube. You may be, well, no, you won't be watching this, but it'll be an interlude, hopefully. But 8 p.m. Thursday evening and Friday evening. And there's an exciting announcement coming on Thursday. We don't know what it is. We're not in the know. We've got an idea. There's been a little teaser, but we are as in the dark as a lot of people. So another reason to watch FR UK on Thursday. I think it's going to be quite exciting and very good news for all fans of French rugby in the UK and Ireland, I guess.
Yeah. In the meantime, keep listening to us, keep following, subscribing, emailing in. We've had a few people get in touch. Couple of listeners going to that Colomiers game, which is very exciting. One, Ryan, who is potentially taking in both Colomiers and the access match to Pro de Deux with Nice and Miles's old boys Mont de Marsan. So what a weekend.
Oh my God, we didn't even ask him about that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Again, another time. The other, without being the dull fact checker, Worcester didn't win the championship. They're into the final this weekend, which is on Sunday at Bedford. So if you haven't had enough rugby and you're in the Bedford area, I imagine that could be a pretty raucous affair.
You can blame the BBC for that because it's a playoff final. I assume, maybe, or my interpretation of it. Because I did check that. I was like, oh, did they win? But there we go. Yeah, sorry.
There we go.
Apologies, rugby fans.
You're forgiven, Rob. Right, anything else?
No, don't think so. Cannot wait for Pro de Deux this week. Buzzing, absolutely buzzing for it.
Enjoy, and we'll see you next week. Au revoir.
Au revoir.